Hello everyone. Let us continue with our today's lecture. Our today's study routine will be divided into two parts. As you requested yesterday to start with the PYQs. In the first part, we will move ahead with the topic, and in the next part, we will solve the PYQs. Now let me introduce myself. I am Faiz, and I am here to teach you polity. Today's date is 24th November 2023. Our today's topic is fundamental rights. This is one of the most important topics in the entire polity syllabus. You will find one or two questions on fundamental rights in any questions, be it UPSC, State Public Service Commissions, or any law entrance exams. So, fundamental rights are enlisted in Part 3 of the Constitution. Fundamental rights are enlisted in Part 3 of the Constitution. And articles, yesterday I taught, na? Articles where to 12 to 35. 12 to 35 deal with the fundamental rights. So, the topic of fundamental rights is derived from the Constitution of USA. Friends, if you have any doubt, you can ask me at that moment only also. Because after the lecture gets over, no one remembers what the doubt was. And one more thing, I had given 1 or 2 homeworks yesterday. Have you done it? What were the homeworks? IR Coelho case and case of Nanda Bharti case. So what was the significance of these two cases? Hyderabad students? So what did you do? IR Coelho case. Okay, after the lecture gets over, we will move to it. Because from the Constitution of USA, Bill of Rights. Now, as said earlier, it deals with Article 12 to 35. Article 12 to 35. So, the actual fundamental rights start from the Article 14, equality before law and right to equality. But Article 12 states that Article 12 gives a definition of state for fundamental rights. It gives the definition of state for fundamental rights. Next thing, state means the organs of the government, executive, legislative, and judiciary. If anything in contravention to the fundamental rights are done by these organs, the Supreme Court has the power to nullify that particular instance of happening. Now, Article 13 states that laws that are, we will write here, executive and legislative organs. Of the state includes the central government, the state government, and also the local authorities that run under the government. And if any company is there that is owned by the government, like PSUs, वगैरह, they are also a part of the state. For this definition only, for Article 12. Article 13 states that laws that are inconsistent. Now, as discussed in the previous lecture, the criticism was that it is a paradise for lawyers because many of the people will not understand the meaning of this word inconsistent. Actually, if you are pretty straightforward, na, the thing should have been there that laws that are against the constitution should not be valid, right? But inconsistent has various interpretations. So that is why constitution is an interesting and yet tricky document. That is why we have 105 amendments and many cases that continue for decades in the Supreme Court. Am I speaking very fast? Fine. Laws that are inconsistent with fundamental rights are to be invalid. And who decides whether the law is valid or not? Supreme Court and High Courts. So, Supreme Court and High Courts have the power of judicial review. They can determine the constitutionality of any provision of any law or executive order that a government passes. So, who has the power? High Courts. In the MCQ type of question, you will be asked that who has the power to review the constitutionality of any act, and the options will include Supreme Court, High Court and Supreme Court, High Court, or lower courts. So you will have to be very careful because this all seems very easy, but MCQ also checks your presence of mind. If you mark in haste, you will make a waste out of it. Next thing is to be invalid. Now the definition of law is also given here for Article 13. Article 13 includes permanent laws by the legislature. Permanent laws means the laws that have been passed through the ordinary process, like first reading, second reading, and passed through both the houses. That means an ordinary law. Then the second thing is under Article 13, law includes one, permanent law by legislature. Acha, I have one question for all of you. Is RTI Act a permanent act? Is RTI Act a permanent law? You have 30 seconds to give me the answer. Girls from Hyderabad. Just know what said, no? What a permanent law means. So what is it? Hyderabad students, what is the answer to this question? Is RTI Act a permanent law? Now this interplay of words and the meaning of words is important if you have to appear for any law entrance exam. Before introducing myself, I did not write. I had 34th rank in Law City. So 30 seconds are over, right? What is the meaning of permanent law? Hyderabad students, no answer in the chat box. The time is ticking, everyone. Come on. This is an MCQ type of question, exam, na? So I will also mark the options for your yes, no. Now tell me the answer. Yes, permanent. Okay. I think the students have got what a permanent means. Permanent law means next thing is second temporary laws. Temporary laws. Now temporary laws means, for example, ordinance. Ordinance. Now for the break, there's a homework for you. Homework for break when homework for break. What is the life okay of an ordinance? Options are 1 year, 6 months, and what is the ord- maximum life? Wrong answer. 6 months is not the case.
6 months, 6 weeks.
The answer will be verified after the break. And the next question is okay, most of you are getting the answer. Option B. The third is and who promulgates ordinance? These are the homeworks for the break. Next, temporary laws. Example ordinance. Third is statutory instruments. Acha, this is enough, I think, but I will write a very short in here. There's no space down because I've used the next page. Statutory instruments. Statutory instruments. Example, order, bylaw. For example, these statutory instruments means if you watched Khatta Mita the movie, right? You've not watched. In any movie, there's a order by some authority like collector or something. That comes under the definition of statutory law, statutory instrument. And fourth is custom having force of law. This means practices that are not written in the law, but people accept it to be the right thing, like a law. Like you cannot breach this, but this can even go against the fundamental rights. Right now, I'll not zoom it. The president of India is not the right answer. Next important thing is Article 14. We will start with the new page. Article 14. Actually, if you go by sequence now, the topic we should have been taken today was citizenship. But because we are doing PYQs, we have started with fundamental rights first. Article 14. So this is very important what I'm going to write. Right to equality. Right to equality goes from article what to what?
42.
14 to 18. Article 14 to 18. Article 14 says that Article 14 deals with equality before law and equal protection of laws. Article 4 equality before law is taken from British Constitution and equal protection of laws is taken from US. And equality before law is a negative concept. This is a negative concept. And equal protection of laws is a positive concept. If we since this is a crash course, we will not go into much details. We will just try to finish the syllabus as soon as possible. Second, after Article 14 is equality before law and equal protection of laws. Next, but equality before law is not absolute. Not everyone is equal in the eyes of law. In other words, right? Because Constitution grants immunity to the president and the governors and MPs and MLAs during their term. So, I will write a very short note here. Article 14 is not absolute but subject to some exceptions. And the exceptions are just now I've said MPs, MLAs, and president. Next is Article 15. Article 15 is also a part of right to equality. Now, Article 15 says that prohibition. And what do you understand by the word prohibition?
रोकना.
रोकना. In English? Preventing someone, है ना? Prohibition of discrimination on ground. Now, this word is very important. Only of the grounds here religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Only word is used here. It means that discrimination on other grounds are on other grounds is not prohibited. This also includes prohibiting any outcome, prohibiting any disability or liability on grounds mentioned above with respect to public places or places of public entertainment, and use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, etc. maintained by the state. Now you will have a question that these are very simple things. So why is it included in the constitution? So before independence, there was instances of inequality in the country because of the caste system. For that same reason, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had to do a satyagraha, Mahad satyagraha, right? And Gandhiji had to use the Harijan Sevak Sangh. Pune Pact is related to that thing. Now, same thing with Article 15. It is not absolute. There are some exceptions to Article 15. The exceptions for Article 15 are polity is very vast and very interesting. Exceptions, special provision for women. Next, provision for backward classes. Now, the reservation system works on the basis of caste system, right? So this is an exception to the Article 15. And next is provision for backward classes, same with respect to admission to education institutions. Right here. Next is provision for economically weaker sections. The EWS category has 10% reservation in sorry many education institutions and government services. Now we will see about next article 16. Article 16. Article 16 sums up equality of opportunity in public employment. On public employment, in public employment on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, descent, 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 place of birth, residence. If you pay attention, residence was not included in the early articles, right? So this means that any local government or local body can have a condition that for to be eligible to be eligible for this particular post, you have to be a resident in this panchayat or local body. Got it? And one more thing that was not included in the early articles was descent. Equality of opportunity in public employment on grounds only of. This word is very important. This word is very important. On the grounds of descent. Now, very quickly tell me the difference between what do you mean understand by this word descent? Uh, Descendant and ancestor. You have 30 seconds to give me the answer. Talk time is ticking. There's a chat box. You can write the answers in the chat box, right? Okay, I will make a diagram here. You will have to tell me who is the ancestor and who is the descendant. Here I have drawn 3 generations of people. So A, B, C. Who is the ancestor and descendant? Who is the ancestor here? A, B, and C. A is the ancestor and descendant is B or C. Got it? What a descendant means. So why this word is included in the constitution? Previously,
You cannot judge him.
previously, if you wanted to become a civil servant or any NDA officer or a lawyer or any something like that, you had to belong to a particular family. Next is mm, as there are fundamental rights. Then the next part we have to study about is fundamental rights and exception. So most of the fundamental rights have exceptions. Exceptions. First exception is first exception is Parliament can prescribe residence as a criteria under some territories. Next is reservations for any backward classes. Now you will find this a little funny thing. You give fundamental rights by one hand, and on the other hand, you're also taking them away, right?
Hmm.
But these are exceptions because we have a very diverse society. And to do right the historical injustices that were being meted out to certain sections of the society. Member of for e- member for a particular religious religious institute, denomination to belong to that particular religion. For example, if you're starting a college for priests, for pandits, you cannot bring a father and let him teach there, right? Someone who is expert in that subject should only be the member of that institution. For the break, I had given a homework, and this is the meaning of this word is homework for tomorrow. Homework for tomorrow's class. Sorry. Excuse me. Last exception is state is permitted to provide reservation for economically backward sections, economically weaker sections. Now, Article 17 is very important now. Article 17 means 17 says that abolition of untouchability. Also a person who is convicted for practicing untouchability is disqualified to be a member of parliament or state legislature. The last article of equality is Article 18, abolition of titles. Abolition of titles means abolition of title means previously the previously many families were given a title like Rai Bahadur, बहुत बड़ा बहादुर, Maharaj, and all this. So when the constitution was enacted, all these titles of nobility were abolished. For example, in the Britain, there's a title used as sir, right? Title of nobility. Such titles are not allowed in the independent India. Why is this? Because it promotes equality. But you will have a question that why do some people get Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan and all this, right? Bharat Ratna. These are rec- recognition for their merit, right? and if someone is using that title as a suffix or prefix. Now, what is the difference between suffix and prefix? One more homework, right? This is the last title for this part of the lecture. This is the last topic that I will be teaching for today's lecture. Then we will go to the PYQs. So, abolition of titles, titles of heredity. Also, the government of India cannot confer any title like that. But the similar question is, why do people get Ratna, Khel Ratna, and all these awards, right? To that merit should be recognized. You get the prizes now whenever you win a competition or something like that. So those prizes are to recognize the hard work of that particular person. And if anyone is using that title as a prefix or suffix, for example, prefix the students here have written. It's deleted again. I don't know the prefix. Achha, this is homework, so I will not go into it. A prohibits state from conferring titles. Next is prohibits citizen from accepting title from foreign state. If you are a citizen of India and some other country is giving you a title Raja, 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 you cannot accept that title. And if some foreigner is employed under the government of India, that person cannot accept any title without the permission of the president. Something is there something in this sentence you're not able to understand? One more homework, meaning of this word. Foreigner mentioned above, not to accept emoluments by foreign state. We will take a short break here because I have to compile the questions that we are going to solve now. Now complete this homework till I return. Hello everyone, we are back with our lecture. Let us continue. Now our today's first question is, now let us continue. Have you done the homework that I had asked? Homework? क्या तुम लोग दोनों ने? What is the answer? इसका प्रेसिडेंट एंड गवर्नर बोथ. पार्लियामेंट का कोई इशू रहेगा तो ऑर्डिनेंस विल बी promulgated by the president, and if the state government wants to do something, that ordinance will be governor. Answer is wrong. Second is sorry. Second is C, and here 6 months and 6 weeks. Hyderabad students, have you got this? Why this answer is there? If there is any matter related to the central government or parliament, that ordinance will be issued by the president. And if something pertaining to the state government or state legislature is there, that ordinance will be promulgated by the governor. So you not got this, okay? If something is related to the parliament, that ordinance will be promulgated by the president. And if any matter is related to the state legislature, that ordinance will be promulgated by the governor. So the another homework you have to do is promulgates. The meaning of the word promulgate. How many homeworks I had given today? 3 or 4, right? Now let us continue with this unpopular demand from the PYQ that we are going to do now. First of all, try to understand the meaning of the sentence. Which of the following which of the following which of the following statements is correct? Now this is very important. Sometimes in the question they ask which of the following is not correct. So you have to pay very proper attention. Even if you know the answer, you are bound to mark it wrong. So first you have to underline the keywords. If the exam is screen based, then you cannot underline, you have to pay attention there, right? Yes. Fundamental duties were a part of the original constitution. A. Once I get 7 8 answers, then we will move forward with the next question. Both of you, what is the answer of this question? B is right. Obviously. B is right. Purva, B is B right? Girl from Hyderabad, is B the right answer? I'm confused whether A is right. If A is right, then. How many participants are there in this? Option? The correct answer is D. Option B is wrong.
D is the answer.
D is the answer. Purva, I'm right. D is the answer. D is the answer. Okay, all right. I'm getting some wrong answers. A is not the answer. Fundamental duties were not a part of the original constitution. This I have taught in the previous lectures. It was added by which amendment? Now this is the homework for you today. Fundamental duties were added by which amendment act? I am waiting for a minute. Give me the answer and give me answer of this first one also. Now the second explanation of this is person can be sued. First, we have to understand what the meaning of this word is. What is the meaning of this word sue? केस ठोकना किसी के ऊपर. To do legal proceedings against someone is the meaning of sued. Merely for failure to abide by fundamental duties. This is not the right answer because there was a recommendation that whoever violates this statement, whoever violates any fundamental rights should be given a punishment. But there is no provision in the constitution. So fundamental duties also come under the non-justiciable part of the constitution. All right. Fundamental duties were part of the original constitution. This is not the right answer, right? Second is 105. This is right. Now this is a little current affairs based question. If you were studying this question some 2 years back, 1 or 2 years back, then the answer would have been 103 or 104. Hyderabad students, have you understood this first question? And you have to tell me by which amendment act fundamental duties were added. 42. It is also there in the previous slides. Supreme Court in dash upheld the constitutional validity of EWS reservation. Now this is a current affairs based question. You have 30 seconds to solve this. There is not much to pay attention here. This is a very factual question, right? If you have read it, then you can mark it. If you have not read it, leave it. If there's a negative marking, you have to leave this. All right. Janit, I think there's no negative marking in the law entrance exams that I had given. Under Article 12, acha, this I've taught just now, right? 42, sir, right? 42 size, not 42. 22nd Amendment Act, right? Now, fourth question. Under Article 12 of the Constitution, state includes Government of India and the Parliament, Government of India and the Parliament and the legislature of each state. One has given me the answer C, another has given C. Purva and this girl. C, so majority is giving me the answer C. C is the right option. If you had paid attention to the explanation that I had given, I had said that Parliament and of state and state, the Parliament and the state legislature and local bodies, right? This is what the words I had used. So these types of questions are very tricky. You get confused because the options are very long, right?
Very similar.
Very similar to each other. See, the first option says Government of India and Parliament. Next one says Government of India and Parliament and legislature of each state.
So D says the Parliament and
He says Government, Parliament, and same. And one more thing is included: all local or other authorities. So first we have to understand the meaning of state and government and legislature. Government is the executive part, right?
Yes.
And parliament is the legislature part.
Wrong.
Now, fifth question. Union territory, according to the Constitution of India, means any union territory as specified in the first schedule and sixth schedule, as specified in the first and seventh schedule. Hmm? If you had paid attention yesterday, I had divided the territory of the country into three parts: territory of states, union territory, and territories that may be acquired by the government of India. So, territory that is not a part of the state or territories that are not acquired by the government of India all come under union territory. So, what is the answer of this question? Is it visible? This is very fifth ka D. Girl, students, and please make your own effort. Google is not always right in solving these type of questions. Can be preferred by. Now, this is a good level question. This is a good question. Sixth one. The charge of impeachment against the president of India for his removal can be preferred by. We have not done this topic, but let us do this question today. Answer for this question, sixth. Answer of fifth question is D. I had given the explanation, right? Territories that are not a part of the territory of state or territories that are acquired by the government of India all come under union territory. Sixth answer for sixth question is Acha, whenever you write the answer, write the question number, then write the answer. Then I cannot distinguish which question you're answering for, right? Sixth ka C. Yes. What is your opinion? Sixth C.
Is obviously not.
Is obviously not because this joint session is included. So we will do by elimination.
Because joint session is called when there is no agreement between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, right? Right. And
A is not the answer. A is not the answer. Speaker is not relevant if you apply some logic. Speaker is a part of the legislature, right? It just oversees the functioning of the legislature. So you can say it the management team of the legislature. And either House of the Parliament, this is the answer. Because the process for removal or impeachment of the president is either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha can institute the charges. Then the other house acts as the umpire to see whether the charges are right or wrong. Then all the voting are done by special majority. And chairperson of the Rajya Sabha is not the answer. And who is the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha? Ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. Who is the? My question is, Hyderabad students, who is this personality? Another name for this personality. Another name for this personality. Come on, give me fast. Vice President, Mr. VP. Thank you, everyone. Let us conclude our lecture here today. Today, I forgot to give the recap and the homework for tomorrow, right? So, take a screenshot of these two questions and we will try to do this tomorrow.
Try to private event.
Option C is the answer. Okay, we will see the seventh answer tomorrow. Thank you for your time, everyone.